Hey group, so this is just going to be a little bit of an overview of beef and what we're going to be talking about and what you're going to do throughout your lesson today. Please excuse any noise in the background. They're doing work on the school and I can't help with the drilling and hammering. But anyways, so let's go on to present. All right, so when we talk about beef, these are some key words that you should know. A bull is a mature male that still is intact, meaning that it still has its testicles. And then we have a cow, which is a mature female with one calf. So it's basically a mom. Once the heifer has a baby, then it becomes a cow. And then we have a heifer, which is a female that is not yet calved, and that's basically just like a teenager, really. Um, and then we have a steer. This is a castrated male. This is an animal that has been removed of his testicles. And then we have a calf, which is a young animal of beef animal, and that a calf is for males and females. So when it's born, it's considered calf, no matter the sex. Why do we need to know this? I think that this is a perfect example. The people who created the movie Barnyard, which I'm hoping some of you have seen, but both of these characters, this male character and this male character, you see have an udder, and that is not really correct. Males can have teats, but they do not have udders that are full like these. So this is not anatomically correct, and I'm sure that the people that made this film, that went to film school and are now directors and movie makers, might not have taken an ag class in school, so they don't know that that is not what a male would look like. That is, if it's considered a bull or a steer, it would have different things down there. So that is one thing that no matter what you're going into, you never know when you're going to need to know information like that. All right, so then as we move on, we have some beef breeds, and then you guys will have an assignment in this later, but I just want to quickly go over some of the more popular breeds. We have our British Angus, so our Black Angus. These are polled. Polled means that they do not have horns. So that's really important when you're doing your breed selections, or if you go out and you want to buy some cattle. It's one thing that you want to know is if they have horns or not. There are ways to remove horns, but if you are not interested in messing with that at all, you need to make sure that you keep that in mind. They have the Angus are very well known for their meat quality, and I'll talk about that later in another video, but they have very good meat quality, and that's why they're so well known. That's why you'll see stickers that will say certified Angus beef, because it's a very wanted product. All right, and then we have our Hereford. This is also very popular. They have very good meat production, and they also are very well known for their temperament, meaning that they are more of a docile creature. If you wanted to show cattle at like the fair or something, a lot of times you'll see a Hereford with younger or first-time showmen because they are easier to handle and they're a little more calm. Okay. Oh, excuse me. And Herefords can come into their polled or their horned. So when we talk about being polled or horned, the Hereford is a really great example of that, and that is indicated on their registration sheet. When you have a registered Hereford, it's like you send money in, and then they're a certified Hereford, basically. So that was one thing that is very distinct about the breed is their horns. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have a Shorthorn. This breed is near and dear to my heart because I grew up showing Shorthorns. They can be all red, like in the picture, or they can be fully white, or they can be what we call roan, which is basically like a speckled, everything's meshed up into one. The Shorthorns are really well known for being a dual purpose breed. They are also a dairy breed. You can crossbreed and you can you can breed the two together and get what you're looking for, but they are pretty separate in the beef, and then there are the dairy if that makes sense. So there are dual purpose breed, which is another buzzword to know. Okay, and then we have the Charolais. They're known for mainly being white. They're more heavily muscled, and you can see that in the picture here. They just have more definition. They are also horned and pulled, just like our Herefords, and they're mainly known for just being white, really, is what their big characteristic is, I feel. Okay, and then we go into the Simmental. This breed is a little bit different because it can be so many different colors. In years ago, and 40, 50 years ago, they were more red, white, or yellow, excuse me, or brown, but now we have bred them into being more black. So if you go to a cattle show and you see some Simmentals, they're probably going to be black. They might be black and white, but mostly that is what they're breeding towards. And part of the reason for that is because when you raise cattle, and you raise them to go into like a feeder lot and you want to get more money for them and more premium, you get more money for cattle that have a black hide because they can be considered, they're just, or like considered a better meat quality sometimes. When we have the Angus we talked about with being a certified Angus, there are some gray areas with that, because if I come in and I bring a Simmental that has a fully black hide, well, the Angus also has a fully black hide, and I say it's an Angus, then they considered it an Angus. So there are some gray areas with that, but I mean, producers are always producing high quality meats. They're working hard to produce the best products, but that is one thing that is really well known for these guys, is that they can be a bunch of different colors. So we move on. Now we talk about our more exotic species, and that's exotic to us, really, here in the Midwest. If we were to go down in Texas, we're going to see more animals like this. And specifically, so this is the Brahman, this is a Bos indicus. The ones that we see all the time are Bos taurus. These are important. They're very common in India. They're heat tolerant, and they're, like I said, they're more of a tropical breed. You can see their large ears here, and then you can see this hump on them. They have extra skin in their lower region, and then they have a lot of extra skin in their dewlap too. And this is important because that allows them to take in the heat better and let it go, right? If we have ears of a bunny rabbit that lives in the Arctic, they're going to be smaller, right, to keep their heat in. But if they have bunny ears that are really tall, like jackrabbits, those are for them to put that heat out and to basically like sweat it out, right? So it's the same thing with these beef animals, that they have very large ears so they can be more heat tolerant. Now what we will do is we will breed the Brahman with, say, the Angus, and it's called a Brangus. And that allows us to have more heat tolerant animals, but then also to have that high quality meat product. So that is something that you could see if you go down a little bit more south too, because it's obviously hotter down there. Okay, and then, I just talked about the Brangus. This is a mix between the Brahman and the Angus, like I talked about. And you can see here they have the hump, but then they also have the characteristics of the Angus as well. And again, more common in southern regions. All right, so that's what we have for our beef introduction. There's some buzzwords. If we go over them again, we have pulled, meaning that they have they're not horned, and then we also have horned. Obviously, we have our Bos indicus and our Bos taurus, and then we have bovine here. This is our scientific name, remember, and then these terms as well. So these are important to know as we move forward into this lesson today. So let's see what you got, and have some fun doing the other activities.